What's up, Weeb Squad? No.
Just have 15,
Stole that from Jack's films.
15 fucking false starts, and then the thing actually starts.
Yeah. Howdy doody, anime Rudies.
Fuck off. Howdly doodly, neighborinos. It's me, Anime Ned Flanders.
Yeah. What's up, basement dwellers? It's me, Jeff Thu, Mother's Basement, and I am here with BaronJ, my good buddy from the anime YouTube space. We're at Anime Expo, and we just saw the world premiere of the My Hero Academia movie, and it was, in one word,
Plus Ultra.
that's 2 words, you...
It was incredible. It was freaking phenomenal.
It was really, really good. It was much better than pretty much any filler anime movie that I've seen in a long time.
Very substantial for what they were doing. Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, a big problem with a lot of these anime movies that they add into the middle of shonen stories is a lot of the time they just feel like insubstantial side stories that don't really move forward anything. And instead of doing that, they decided to slot this one in between season 2 and season 3 as like a side story, and they tweaked a few things in the anime, in the TV show, to make room for that to happen. And it ends up feeling like a really substantial part of All Might and Deku's relationship development and sort of the growth of them as characters. The story of the movie is basically All Might's going to visit this old friend from back before he was the greatest hero in the world. This guy he used to train with when he was an exchange student in America. They go to this place called Island, which is a man-made island theme park thing that is having an expo for technology and superheroes, and conveniently it is an extraterritorial area where people are allowed to use their quirks unrestricted by law. So that works around. So they do a good job, I think, naturally working around a lot of plot holes that they could fall into by slotting this into the middle. The League of Villains shows up. I mean, it's not really the League of Villains, but a loose conglomerate of villainous figures.
League of Villains, great value.
Get great value, yeah. So this party's happening in this big tower in the center of the big island. And some villains show up, and basically it's Die Hard with Deku replacing John McClane. And that was what I expected going in, because they put young All Might on the poster a lot, and I was figuring this would be like a flashback movie. Like, there are some flashbacks. We do get a little bit of insight into All Might's character,
which I loved, by the way. It was so good.
There's great characterization, I think, for Deku and All Might especially, but for all of like the core cast of the show throughout the movie. Like, I feel like Kirishima and Bakugo get a few like really good moments of like
they really do.
Because in the manga and the anime, their relationship is developed sort of off screen. We're just sort of told they become friends, but here we get to see a few like buddy moments between them. And yeah, basically it throws the students into like a Die Hard type scenario where they've got to save the day because the other heroes are otherwise indisposed, without going into spoilers, which is awesome and a great setup for just like a solid hour of nonstop fun and action. As with any anime filler movie, it does introduce a couple new characters who get to have like the most growth, because obviously Deku and All Might do have to basically be where they're at the start of season 3 by the end of this movie, which doesn't allow for that much growth. It's more about deepening their bond rather than changing it. But the characters they introduce are actually really, really strong. Dr. David, who is this great scientist who's invented like a ton of gear for superheroes in the past. He's got like a really strong connection to All Might, which makes him feel less like a useless filler character than say all of the side characters in Naruto.
I mean,
hey, I'm a little kid on a circus ship. There's some shit happening in my life, and now I'm disappearing forever.
I'm a ninja, and I have a pipe that blows bubbles.
Yep, that's
what I do. No, with this, it felt like there was a reason for them to be there. And it fleshed out a lot of backstory for stuff that we wanted to know, and it was really good. It was really good.
It was really strong in that regard. I think Horikoshi did help with the scripting of this, and
of course. I would have to say so.
It like feels like a very authentic My Hero Academia story. It doesn't feel like a waste of your time like a lot of these movies do. Sorry, to bring it back to those characters, because I want to just... So there's Dr. David, who's All Might's old friend, and then there's Melissa, who's his daughter, who's this really top-tier waifu, for starters. She is really cute.
Really cute. She's really cute.
She is a good girl. She also develops like a really interesting relationship with Deku, where she's like sort of almost being positioned to be maybe his arms manufacturer going forward.
Yeah.
She invents this thing called the Full Gauntlet, which is basically like this kinetic bracer that allows him to use the full power of One for All 3 times, which is, you know, obvious plot device. You know where it's going as soon as it's introduced, but it's still cool.
The problem is, it has a really cool design. Like, it's like a bracelet. He slaps it, and it becomes like a hand wrap, like a Muay Thai hand wrap around his hand. It looks fucking rad.
It is really cool. Her deal is that she really wants to be a hero, but she's quirkless, so there's like an immediate connection to Deku and something that he can relate to, but she wants to be a hero in her own way by being a scientist, and that's like an interesting contrast to where Deku ends up. Thematically, I think that this isn't like the deepest story in the world.
Oh, no.
It is definitely like going over themes that have been done in My Hero Academia before, but it's exploring them from new angles, like a lot of the good side arcs do in the story, in the main manga. I was worried that it would just be like focused on Deku and All Might, and not many people would be in. But they bring in a lot of the UA students. Toru is unfortunately off to the side, but we do get to see her in a, which is the greatest thing that I have seen all year. Anime of the year. Let's just write it off right now.
Suyu in pajamas for me. That's all I need.
Suyu in pajamas was really good too. But the main focus is on Kirishima, Bakugo, Todoroki, Yaoyorozu, Uraraka, headphone jack girl.
I always forget
her name. And Kaminari and Mineta are there for like the comic relief. And then the other classmates are shown to like be around, but they're not part of the diehard team. It's really cool because every single one of those characters gets like their own moment to shine.
Yeah, for sure.
Everybody gets a moment to be like a hero. Even Mineta, which is going to, I'm sure, upset some people. But his moment's great. No spoilers.
His scene is...
I think they actually reused the best animation of him from the anime for that.
Yeah, I would say so. Now that you're saying that, I think you're right.
I think they at least reused the keyframes for that.
Yeah.
But like in the different context, it's really good.
It's really really funny.
But all of them get like a moment to shine and do their own thing. They used a lot of music from the anime, which is great music, and I think it was a good choice because that's very familiar to the audience. But at the same time, a theatrical production, I kind of want to hear like a new musical score instead of canned anime music.
There was one or two moments where I almost think that they rearranged some stuff, maybe, because there were some of the slower moments, some of the piano music that they were playing. I said, that doesn't sound like anything in the show. But it sounds like it might be something that they have used.
The same leitmotif,
the same leitmotif, and they've turned it around on something else. So yeah, I would agree. I would have liked to see like super orchestral or like film versions, like
I mean, you get like All Might's theme song and You Say Run and all of this, like all of the classics come in at good moments. But you know, when I see a movie, I always want to see like a full cinematic score. And I guess I could say I was a little disappointed, but at the same time, it was a good call because like everybody was cheering every time that music came on.
Every single time.
Okay, so let's just bring this back to the actual like experience of going to the premiere.
You have never lived until you've sat in a room with like almost 1,000 weebs, and then they start playing like the beginning notes of a song that everybody knows, and everyone's like,
"Whoa!" Yeah.
No, and one of the I believe it was the English voice actors from Momo, the one that was on stage, brought up this really good point, was that while we were at the premiere and people were watching this movie, someone's quirk, like Todoroki's fire, would go across the screen, but no one would know what it is yet. But the people that did get it all, like, at the same time, it would get hit, and they'd all go, "Oh, yeah!" It was... Oh, there was so much energy in the room. It was incredible.
So that was one moment they would cheer.
Yeah.
The other moment they would cheer is when somebody does something badass, which there's
absolutely.
a lot of moments.
There's a lot of really badass shit that happens.
Bones was just like, okay, we're making a movie.
Yeah, no. Here you go.
Yeah, like there were so many Sakuga moments, so many really great moments of choreography. I know a lot of people like complain about the fights in the regular show being kind of straightforward and simple, and I like that. I think it reflects that the hero characters are sort of learning to be heroes and they're not necessarily pros yet. But I think that the movie found like a good compromise between having Deku and the other young heroes doing things that they're either experimenting with or learning from other heroes that they've met, but it doesn't like break these are young kids who are still learning how to do this.
Right.
And yeah, there were a lot of really badass moments. And the third thing that everybody cheered for was any time that any ship that they approved of came up.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And even then with the new girl would do the stereotypical, like, oh no, and would fall on top of Deku.
Deku, yeah.
And everyone just go, oh!
Yeah.
Get some!
The biggest cheers the movie got was whenever Kirishima and Bakugo were on screen together, especially when they were shirtless together.
Oh yeah.
And like they did a little bit to like play those to the fangirls for
absolutely.
sure. You're like shrinking, dude. You should come back up.
I naturally.
Yeah.
It's my quirk. I'm gone.
He's gone.
I'll never come back. All right.
He's my emotional support gnome.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so like the girls and a lot of the guys in the audience were like cheering every time that came up. I mean, there were a lot of like awes for the cute moments between Deku and Uraraka where they had like a couple of pretty. And I was just all on board for the 2 shots that we got of Toru. I wish she was in it more.
It was good.
But wait, no, actually, she was in every scene.
That's right. She was there the whole time.
But Toru in a Kigurumi gives me life.
Absolutely.
The good thing about having that like big cast is that you've got that familiarity going in, so they don't have to waste a lot of time introducing characters. It's like it feels kind of like a big episode of the TV show, and I think you know, to a certain extent that's a problem with any movie like this, but it's for the audience that is watching this show, which is huge, and it caps off with some absolutely phenomenal fights too.
Oh yeah, they're pretty good, and it's incredibly well animated.
Oh yeah,
it was. A lot of it was just mind-boggling. There were certain scenes with Deku that weren't even part of like the main fights. I'll say, and you'll know what I'm talking about.
There was. It's interesting because you see Deku like integrating stuff that he's learned from his teachers and his classmates in without like saying, "Oh, he just did that thing that this character does." He just kind of does it, and I think the action choreography in this is really strong across the board.
Yeah.
But we got to talk about the best the best moment. Okay, so All Might and fucking Deku fight together.
They go at it together, and it's like in tandem, and there's one where it's All Might running, Deku's right behind him doing the same thing, but they're doing it in the same, like they're synced up, and it's like,
yeah, no, like the animation on that whole final fight scene is amazing. They've got like people running all over the place. Everybody gets involved.
Everybody does something.
Like everybody contributes to beating this like big final boss.
Yeah.
And then All Might and Deku are like both at their last rope, but they come together and they we get to see really the passing of the torch.
Yeah,
like
honestly.
in real time because the manga never creates that opportunity for them to fight alongside each other. There's only the fight between them for the training arc.
100%.
And this is like such an essential thing. And it was like this mix of like, I was feeling a lot of emotions with this fight scene.
Oh, yeah.
But also, I was like so fucking pumped.
It's a very hype-inducing few minutes. Like,
yeah,
it hits you really hard.
So we get a bunch of different smashes. We get the Texas smash and the Tennessee cross cut.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And then it caps off with Deku doing his own Detroit smash, and then finally they both go full power for a double Detroit smash, and it's so good.
It was
so good. The whole audience just fucking exploded,
dude. If you looked behind you, like people, I looked back. I was looking back to see what people were doing, and it was like that. It was like the psych. That's the wrong number, and everyone was like, "Ah!"
It was insane. It was like everything that I wanted from the action finale of this. I think that this fight was every bit as strong and important as All Might versus All For One, and Deku versus Stain, and Deku versus Todoroki. It is like as important, as well done.
Yes.
Actually better done, I would say, like, because they went balls to the wall with the Sakuga in this movie.
They really did.
And you know what the crazy thing is? Bones was crunching to finish this cut of the movie up to last night.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, because the movie comes out in fucking November in Japan. And they like crunched to bring this out for the world premiere.
That's insane. I didn't know that.
Wow. So like,
wow.
So this wasn't even like the final cut. That's why they said, okay, spoilers over here.
Spoilers.
Yeah,
are gone.
spoilers are done.
Welcome back.
Yeah, actually, spoilers were over probably a little while ago.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, but anyway, so they didn't even have like the full movie in there. They mentioned that there are extra scenes at the end because those weren't finished yet. I think that's like
you might be right. Honestly,
because there's like three months left in the movie's production cycle, and you know, it makes sense that they're still working on stuff. I mean, what was in the movie was so good. There wasn't like a moment where I was like, they cheaped out on that.
No.
Which is like that's almost always the case in anime movies, or in like TV anime movies. Like Sword Art Online movie drops the ball on animation a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always find a way to dump on Sword Art Online. I'm sorry. But like also a lot of the Dragon Ball Z movies drop the ball in that regard.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it's like halfway between a big episode and a small movie, you know. But this felt like a full cinematic experience. It felt like an essential story. David and All Might and Melissa and All Might and Deku had like enough of a forward character arc that you understand them.
Yeah.
They did have to integrate some flashbacks to the show, which I felt were kind of like ham-fisted. But like overall, there were very few cut corners in the movie.
No.
And like the fact that they were crunching to get it out like this soon is like
crazy.
insane. But I think we've gone through all of our thoughts on the movie. How would you rate it?
I would rate it, I want to say probably a solid 8.5 out of 10. Maybe probably a 9 out of 10.
That's fair. I would probably say like on a 10-point scale, an 8. On like my recommendation scale, I would say a silver. If you are a My Hero Academia fan, though, a platinum.
Oh yeah,
like,
100%.
Like,
if you like My Hero Academia,
this
at
is
all,
yeah.
this is the movie you watch.
This is amazing. But I mean, you're already gonna see it. Like,
this
was the most like anticipated and crowded thing. People were lining up at midnight to get into this thing, which was at noon the next day. It was AX's biggest premiere by far. But I will say that it's not like a world-beating, mind-blowing movie. Like, this was a good action-packed movie, sort of like an action movie pastiche, almost, that like had a little bit of Die Hard, a little bit of Mission Impossible, specifically the scene.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, overall, I would say it was a strong movie, but not necessarily like a must-see movie if you're not a Hiroaka fan already. It may be what you need to convince you to watch Hiroaka, so if you're at all curious, I would say give it a shot, but it's not necessarily like going to win any Oscars.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But it didn't intend to. It's meant to just be hype and fun.
Yeah. In true superhero fashion, it's more like the Marvel movie that we needed out of the anime community.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah. Unless there's anything else you'd like to add.
No, I would say that is pretty much everything that I've got to say.
Suyu is best girl.
And no, Toru is best girl.
Now this is where we fight.
Yeah, we're gonna fight for real. So I'm Jeff Thu, professional shitbag, signing out from this hotel in LA for the last time probably, because I'm gonna be signing out from jail after I kill you.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Thanks for coming, everybody.